All right, guys, welcome to another episode of BeanTown Boxing, Banter, and Bullshit. A couple special guests tonight. We got Fly Mike Marshall, Omar Bordoy Jr. Stepping in with us tonight. As always, we want to thank Platt's Landscaping, obviously Rivera Promotions, and Emily's Interiors and Remodel Works.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Guys, here we go. BeanTown Boxing, Banter, and Bullshit tonight with two very special guests. We got in the bottom left corner that I'm looking at, my man Fly Mike Marshall. We got Omar Bordoy Jr. in the next spot. And as always, AJ Rivera, my guy, hosting again tonight with us. We're having a great time, guys. Thank you for watching. We're going to be here every Wednesday, every week, just shooting the shit about boxing, man. It's a lost conversation we're trying to get back around. So, guys, welcome. AJ, kick it off, my man. You know these gentlemen better than I do. Let's get loose.
What's good, AJ?
What's good? What's good? How you guys doing?
Chilling, man. What up, AJ? What's good?
It's good. It's actually, so I know who Mike is, but it's nice to formally actually, meet each other at this point. We work with the same guys and stuff. Never really got to meet, but I'll start off with you, Mike. What's new? What's new? What's going on? How's training?
Man, training's good, man. I'm just working real hard, man. I'm up here boxing with I go to New London and train with Cassius Chaney out there, spar with him, get a couple rounds and get me ready for this fight with Sonny Conto in Philadelphia. So I'm very excited about that.
That's gonna be a great fight. That's gonna be a great fight for you.
Yeah.
That's you win that fight. That's TV for you next.
Yeah, man, I'm just gonna go in there and do what I do,
Yeah, I think he's a very beatable guy. I've actually had people hit me up to match fights for him before. So when did you started boxing late, right?
Man, I started boxing I started training at 17 and I started competing at 18. Cause I was a kid off the street, you know what I mean? Like I was fighting all my life, like fist fighting growing up or whatever. So
like most fighters.
Right. So, I remember I just got jumped by the Bloods in New Jersey one day. And it was, it was a local gang or whatever. I should have never said who they were, but what it is. Like they all old now, so it don't matter. But I had got jumped and I remember I was a kid, I was like 16, I remember, and I'm getting stomped out with like boots on. And I got up and they all got off me. It was like 12 dudes against one. They all got off me and I got up and the first thought in my head was like, yo, man, if I could take Gore-Tex boots to the head, I could get in a boxing ring. That was the first thing I thought to myself, you know what I'm saying? So it just stuck with me. It was like fighting always stuck with me. And that's how I came about boxing.
I'm going back for 1 second, AJ. Mike, we've had, I think, 30 boxing shows, and I've been waiting for one person to tell me that story right there. Nobody would give it to me, and you just gave it to me.
Yeah, there you go, man. You just got to give it to the right person.
Really, I'm excited here. I was about to say off screen for an hour, man. That inspired me because you know what? That's real. That's like that anger when you're a kid. That exact situation, man, is what I envision boxers getting into boxing for. Self-defense from that standpoint right there. But all these guys want to be like strategic, and it really is two. I feel like there's two separate fighters, or there's two reasons to get into boxing. And I believe, people want to keep up and be athletic and keep in shape. And then there's guys like what you just said, who are fighting with that fire from inside from something that happened bad when they were a kid. It happened to all of us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dude, I got bullied till I was 18, and it was that situation right there when I started laying it down. It ain't about me, so but really,
you should have started boxing.
Dude, and
We
even
get
a
we
better
would have
story.
been interviewing homie right now.
I went to Anna Maria College, bro. I wasn't allowed on campus the entire weekend. I had to leave at Friday at 5 p.m. and I wasn't allowed back on till 8 a.m. on Monday morning. And you know what their punishment was? They said, we're sending you to Carlos Garcia. I shit you not. That's a real story,
hilarious.
man. That a Catholic
The
college,
Godfather of boxing.
the godfather of Carol Body was her name. She was a counselor. They made me go through counseling. But I had that fire, like you're talking about, you know, that anger that, you know, she said that's gonna be the best thing for you to release it, you know. So thank you very much, man. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna count up the shows and do the numbers, but I swear, dude, it has to be over 30 of these to get done. And I've been waiting for that moment right there the whole time. So thank you.
Nah, I'm pretty sure all boxers, if they have different stories, they're lying. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Joey, Joey's was very similar. Joey's
now I think they all have it, but they've held it back.
Nah, everybody, unless you was bred to be a boxer, like your dad was, like your dad was like world champion, and like AJ's dad, you know, like AJ's dad. You know,
hey, look at
but see, that doesn't mean it was any easier, because everyone wants to come up off that.
It was easier. I didn't say it was easier. I'm just saying you had that. It was kind of like a path that was already laid out for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's tough.
Like me, like when. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You good, Mike?
Oh, like with me, it was just like a spur of the moment thing. Like I remember the first day when I walked into a boxing gym. Well, first I was fighting in the street, and then a cop pulled me over. He was like, yo, like he didn't lock us up. He was like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, you should take your skills to the gym. That's why I always respect police officers, because, you know, like a good cop like that will see that and say, hey, you know, let me put this kid in the PAL or something, or a program, so he can take some of that anger off on the street. And that's what it's about, because that's what it was. That's what was done for me, you know. And I just didn't want to go to jail, man. I ain't never been to prison in my life, and I just didn't want to be, you know what I mean? I know if I'm fighting in the street, that's ultimately what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So
some of the best champions, in the game actually were brought to a gym by a police officer or trained by a former police officer in some type of way. So I think that's dope too, you know, when they do that. And I think it's dope. That's an inspiring story that you started so late and you are as good as you are, you know. And yeah, you've been on the undercards of big fights and stuff like that. That goes to show people, like, hey, sometimes you find your something that you're passionate about late in life, but that doesn't mean that you can't hang in there with the big boys. It's gonna be with the work that you put into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Boxing is always about what you give, what you put in. You 100%. Get what you put in. You know what I mean?
100%. You can't. Your lifestyle outside. I had this part. I think I said it to Mike when we had Jermaine on. Was that your lifestyle outside the ring will always show in rounds 8 and up. Yeah. The first 6 rounds you can get away with a lot of talent and shit that you know. 8 and up, your lifestyle outside the ring will show. You can't hide it. It will come to the surface.
That's a fact.
At that point in time.
That's a whole
100%. I bet you Omar too, you know, in the amateurs, I've seen some nasty dudes, some nasty dudes. And some of those guys were not always the most dedicated in the gym. And, you know, when they were no longer amateurs and weren't fighting 3 rounds anymore, they didn't become the best pros, you know. So
it happens a lot. That's, you know, it happens a lot.
Mike, what I really want to know is in the ring, because I mean, like I have told everybody on I think every show that we've done so far, I was never a huge boxing fan. I watched the pay-per-views, the heavyweights, but I never knew what the game was. I never knew the strategy. I never knew what went into it. So it's technical, it's strategy. When you're in the ring fighting someone and you get to that angle level, when you start remembering bad things or you start remembering why you're angry or why you're in there, how do you keep it together and stay in the zone? Because
That's an excellent question. Training. I've been around. I was lucky enough to be around the best in New York City while I was living in New York. Well, I'm from New York, but while I was living in New York, I was blessed enough to be around the best by staying in the gym. That's what these kids don't understand. They think, a lot of this stuff is overnight. You got to stay in the gym. You never know my whole thing was, my outlook on it was, you never know who's going to be in the gym. You never know who's going to show up that day. One day, Danny Jacobs comes to the gym, and next thing you know, I'm going to camp with Danny Jacobs, and I'm we living in the same villa for 3 months, training for a championship fight. So all of that comes from, staying focused. Like, you have to stay focused. You can remember all the bad things, but you got to use that in your training. Hit the bag a little harder, work, just staying focused on the task. My job here is to bust your ass. That's it. Whatever happens, clever. Whatever happens after that it is what it is. But my job is to stay focused and bust your ass. Ultimately.
I love it.
Good story. So Omar, not to you. What's new with you? What's up next? What's going on? How's training?
Ain't nothing really new, you know what I'm saying? I've been a pro, I think almost like 5 years now, 6 years, going on, I think 5 years now, right? Going on 6?
Since 2017, right?
2017, yeah.
5 years.
5 years, yeah. Yeah, so it's nothing really new. I mean, unlike Mike, I didn't start training that late. I started training when I was 13, so I'm about to be 27 this Saturday.
Which could be considered late for the elite athlete.
It definitely is. I wasn't bred to. I was definitely not bred to box, at least. You know what I mean? Even though, Danbury at the time when I started boxing was a dead city, and there was nothing going on with boxing. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even have a fucking gym. You know what I mean? I fucking trained. I
had the Harambe and all that.
The Harambe was a basement. It was cold. It was barely a gym. You know what I mean?
I trained in Coney Island. I trained in Coney Island in the projects in the basement. Gym is a gym.
We didn't have no trainers. We didn't have nothing like that. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody was spending time at the Harambe Center. Benny at the time had his gym. Dave was busy with Fernelli Senior at the time. It was shit back then, but. AJ Galante and with the gym that we have now is so it's made Danbury come a long way for boxing. And
what gym are you out of now?
What's that?
What gym are you out of now? What's your home gym right now?
Chance Boxing in Danbury.
Chance Boxing. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, same gym. Chance Boxing.
We got the same trainers.
Oh, okay.
I want to give my man some roses. This man deserves his roses while he's here. AJ Galante. Yeah. He helped, like they said. That was a dead city, and like from kids
back to life
to pros, brought the city back to life. There's a Netflix documentary on what he did with a hockey team.
Netflix, yeah.
But like, I've come across, I've been in the boxing game, like Omar said, my whole life. So I've met all sorts of people, from the Don Kings to the Tysons to the Ray Leonard, and AJ is by far one of the most genuine, enjoyable people to be around. Like, there's certain people in this industry that when you work with them, you got to think twice. You got to kind of be cautious. You want things written down in contract. With AJ, man, that's one dude that, like, at least in my heart, I don't feel that energy, like, where I need to be cautious.
He loves what he does.
He loves what he does. He's super genuine. He's always giving back.
Stand-up guy.
Stand-up guy. I mean, he's already done things behind the scenes, like, for us, that other trainers and promoters would never even think of or bother. Like, just the small gestures. And he definitely needs to be talked about. Like, the way that we mentioned Carlos Garcia over here is the way that AJ is over there in Danbury.
Some about motherfucker AJ, right? The way his head works, you know what I'm saying? The way it's fucking every time we're talking about a fight or anything like a plan, it's just the way he maps it out like within like seconds. You know what I mean?
Shit, what's it called? It's like what's that movie?
The nigga that was from the casino. He was
Yeah. Oh, Raven.
Raven, yeah.
Raven.
Yo, that's who AJ is, yo. Cause like if I spitball an idea to him, or if I say I want this fight, or how do I get this fight, or how do we do this? You know what I mean? Most of the time, when it comes to when I don't know how Mike's experience has been with it, but whenever we get offered something, he always he tells me what's the pros and cons of it. You know what I mean? And then he'll ask me in the end of it, do you want to take the fight? You know, but if it's not like something that he feels like he's like worth it, he's not even like he'll tell me about it, but he'll say fuck it, it's not enough money, or it's not enough this, it's not, you know what I mean? But when he gets a plan that he likes or sees a plan that he likes, it fucking, it's like clockwork. It's crazy. It's that's always amazed me about that motherfucker.
That's dope to have though, because there's some managers out there. I see a lot of fighters. They make a mistake sometimes with like they just go with the first guy that sounds good, or they go with the first guy that throws $1 at them. You know, but
he's calculated.
From what I've seen, AJ has a personal relationship with you guys. Like even outside of boxing, I could be wrong, but he could be like mentor. He could be mentor 1 minute, trainer another minute, manager another minute. He's got different hats, and I think he does more than his role. Like a manager just got to be a manager, but he's over there running the gym.
Nah, he's known me since I was like 14. You know, AJ. So you know, I've known him since I started boxing. You know, so.
I've had a few
conversations regarding Omar with AJ, so I do know what he's talking about with the whole like Rain Man thing. He definitely analyzes everything, pros, cons. Like
he's calculated.
The hardest thing to do is put a title on somebody like that. That's what I have found so far. It's hard to put a title: trainer, manager, mentor, coach.
The title is keep them around.
That's
when you have someone that genuine and that just a good of a person, those are the people, because they're so far and few in between.
In boxing,
I'm genuinely, you know, no shade to anyone, but I'm probably genuinely on like one hand of the amount of people that I can say I fully trust in this boxing industry.
I'm probably, I speak from experience.
I've come across hundreds already, and I'm probably on one hand.
Now, it's early, but boxing has a bad name behind the scenes for promoters, like how they treat their boxers. How to hear you guys talking about whatever his total title is, but I've only heard it talked about the Riveras too in the same sense. Man, you guys have a good rapport with the fighters. You care. You seem to care about the fighters. You know, even though they're pretty much your product. Like
I think a lot of boxers and fighters, they don't really know any type of shit when it comes to the business side of anything.
Yeah,
so
man.
If a boxer or a fighter or a boxer or a manager is giving a hard time to a promoter, it's probably because he's out of his depth and doesn't really understand what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I mean? Because if there is times where you might be getting fucked, you know what I mean, by a promoter. And like AJ Rivera said, and you know, there's not many people that are genuine and are always gonna look out for themselves. But if it makes sense and it makes money for everybody, then you know it makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
I don't know. I come across a lot of managers. You know, I've been managed by AJ since the beginning of my boxing career, but it was like something that he never wanted to. He's always worked behind scenes. You know, he's not like, oh yeah, I'm his kid's manager. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I get hit up probably weekly from different managers, either asking to be a manager or advise, or they have fucking bullshit fights they want to offer. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I always say I'm managed by AJ. Here's his Facebook contact.
I tell people straight up, like, hey man, AJ got me the bag, man. Like I ain't even tripping on none of that. Like you can't say nothing bad about AJ around me. Real talk. And if you got something to say about AJ around me and you gonna have to throw hands. Real shit.
That's what it's all about.
Bag, nigga.
Oh man,
You know what boxing reminds me of? Boxing reminds me of like that vicious cycle of like, so like the fuck boy that hurts the good girl, and now the good girl's all brokenhearted, and then she gets a good boy and fucks him over. So now, like, you know how there's that cycle? Boxing's like that, because you could really go into it as a good promoter,
somebody else,
and then come across a piece of shit fighter that fucked you, and now he ruined it for all the other fighters. Or you could be a really good fighter, a really good genuine person, and then come across that bad promoter, and then now he fucks you over, and now the fighter don't trust no promoter. You know, so it's like a vicious cycle in boxing. It's definitely something, and I'll be real, you know, me and my dad are not at the Al Heyman and Eddie Hearn and all. The only thing that's gonna separate us, besides our bank accounts, from them is how we treat the fighters. You know, I've always told people at the press conferences, like, I know a lot of guys who can't even call their promoter. And these guys can talk to me directly, text me, call me. I'm answering any time of the day. There's times, I mean, I got guys who can vouch for that at midnight.
I mean, for sure, I had good experiences. I mean, I think my third pro fight is when I fought for you the first time, right? Which was in 2017, back end of 2017.
So it might have been your second. You might have been one. I know we had.
Because I fought in North Carolina my second. I fought Brian Abraham.
It was your third. You've had 3 with us, right?
Yeah, so my third, fourth, and motherfucking, I want to say
probably like your 6th or 7th, because there was one in between.
My sixth was when you match made for Tony.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and then it might have been 8.
The pivot over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've definitely had a good experience with you. You know, AJ Rivera and his father. They were always fucking great, understanding, and always took care of the fighters real well.
Good people. Character.
Yeah, for sure.
Character.
Hey, AJ, not to cut you. I'm sorry. Was it your dad wanted to fight De La Hoya?
Yeah.
What's up with De La Hoya, man? He don't want that smoke.
So you know what's crazy is how and I tell people, and that's why I love like your charisma, even the way you talk. Like any fan who doesn't know who you are watching this is probably now gonna be intrigued, because I tell people, like, yeah, you're gonna get some people who want to genuinely be around you, being that nice, humble guy, but that nice, humble guy ain't gonna feed your family. Like, you gotta separate, you gotta be entertaining. It's all about boxing is no longer about skills paying the bills. It's putting asses in seats. What's entertaining? And I'll keep it a buck. Don King has tried to, I don't even want to use a name because I don't want to get in trouble. My dad's former promoter has tried to screw my dad a few times, where he thought my dad was going to lose a certain fight that was going to lead to the bigger fight. For example, when my dad won the WBA welterweight championship in Germany, that division at the time was stacked. My dad wanted all that smoke. He wanted Margarito. He wanted Mosley. He wanted De La Hoya. He finally wanted, like, yo, I'm here. What else I got to do? I'm the WBA champion. I went to Berlin, Germany. No American fighter goes across seas, because if you don't knock that guy out, you're not getting the decision.
No,
it doesn't happen. So he goes, he wins the title over there against a 38-0 fighter that later tested positive, but he didn't test positive in Germany. He tested positive when he came to the States, his fight after that. So that's another shady thing why Americans don't go over there. But so nothing happens at 147, right? So then my dad finally is getting a unification fight. My dad's former promoter, like I said, no names, tries to talk contract extension with my dad like 2 weeks before this unification fight. And my dad's like, we'll rock, we'll talk after. Now, no promoter is about to let, there's only like this 4 major titles, but back in the day, there was really only 2. You're either the WBA champion or the WBC. Nothing else mattered. Now, my dad's the WBA champion at the time. This promoter is not about to let that belt leave his stable. So on 2 weeks' notice, the guy that my dad was supposed to fight in a unification fight gets taken out, and Luis Collazo gets brought in, who's now who's now his promoter is the same promoter as my dad.
I know Lewis because I used to train at Star City.
Yeah, great
Brooklyn.
guy, cool dude.
Yeah.
Lewis is cool dude. I didn't like him at first when I was a young buck.
Me too. I didn't like him
now.
either. I didn't like him like that neither.
I like him now though. He's a cool dude.
I like him now.
I respect that, you know, he was able to actually, that fight propelled his career. That fight with my dad, because after that, he got the Hatton fight, he got the Mosley fight, 2 Victor Ortiz fights. Like Andre Berto, his career went after that. But so the guy that my dad originally was supposed to fight, he had a different promoter. So on 2 weeks' notice, because my dad doesn't want to talk contract extension, that guy is allegedly sick, and now a new guy's getting brought in who's a same promoter as my dad. So no matter who wins or loses, the belt stays with that promoter. If you get what I'm saying, you get my drift here. So my dad really struggled, because by then he's in his early 30s, and he was really struggling at 147. He came in a half a pound over for that fight, had to lose that. They made him lose that half a pound. He was so depleted, you know, his body couldn't do it anymore. So then that loss, you know how boxing is, they try to write you off after a loss or whatever. It was a split decision loss.
Which is stupid.
But my dad's promoter said, hey, if you re-sign with me, your very next fight, you can fight for a championship. So all my dad cared about was not rebuilding, not having to start back up. So my dad re-signs, moves up to 154, and now he's about to fight for the WBA title at 154 against Alejandro Garcia, who was a Mexican knockout artist at the time. The same exact night, De La Hoya was fighting Ricardo Mayorga for the WBC.
I remember that.
So this was being set up as it would eventually, they expected Mayorga to lose to De La Hoya, and they expected my dad to lose to Garcia. So this was going to be like a Mexico versus Mexico, WBA champion versus WBC champion. My dad ruined those plans. Matter of fact, my dad's promoter wasn't even at my dad's fight. He was at the De La Hoya fight. So this fight's main event on Showtime, and his promoter's not even there. He was at the De La Hoya fight.
Crazy.
So my dad wins. Now he's like, word, that means I get the De La Hoya fight. No.
Never happened.
So my advice to any current fighters, any future fighters, talk your shit or market yourself. If you don't want to talk shit, record yourself kissing babies and reading books to kids in elementary schools. Do what you got to do, because as sad as it is, I mean, I know guys get into a bag right now that wouldn't be able to hold Omar's fucking cup or Mike's cup. And they're getting to it's just because they have the bigger fan base.
What
At the end of the day,
Jake Paul guy? I don't even like saying his name.
Logan Paul.
Money, that's it.
You know,
money.
Let's be real here. There's a
the
guy,
motherfuckers had clout already.
This is no disrespect because Adrian Broner was a great fighter at one point in time. But after 135, 140, he was just your regular guy.
Yeah.
And he still can come out of retirement right now and get a 7-figure payday.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, he's fucking crazy, but I think it was his lifestyle outside of the ring. I don't think.
But that's what I'm saying. So whether you get a fan base that really, really loves you or a fan base that really, really hates you, regardless,
you got a fan base.
So Floyd, you either really, really, really hate him or really, really, really love him. But either way, you're paying to see him. Manny Pacquiao did the opposite. He was like the country hero, but that love for him got him really, 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 really paid. You feel me? So there's ways to go about it, but my thing about it is just don't forget, get out that shell. If you're shot, like my dad used to be in the ring after fights, like, hey, Jose, who do you want to fight next? And he's like, whoever my promoter wants, I'm just thankful for the opportunity. Or, hey, Jose, what do you think for this next about, I just want to thank God,
Yeah, he's humble.
Thank you. But that wasn't selling tickets, Like, look at Andre Ward. Andre Ward is probably, like, a lot of people sleep. That's probably the most skilled fighter of our era, period.
Yeah.
Last Olympic gold medalist, undefeated since he was 12, 13 years old, wiped out super middleweight, wiped out light heavyweight, went up to cruiser. He got himself, in a comfortable position, but he didn't make what Amir Khan's making and what Adrian Broner's making and guys who are not as good as him are.
Yeah,
that fan base,
sure.
that marketing really matters, you know. So to make your long story short, my dad was high risk, low reward. De La Hoya never wanted it.
It's not over yet. It's not. The guy got COVID and then sent poor fucking Evander Holyfield in there to get waxed. And then what are we doing? I don't look at it. Oscar. When I first had your dad on,
shit,
right?
yeah. I forgot about that.
I saw it and I was like, seriously? This guy's not
Dude,
gonna go
I'm telling you, he wants to make it worth it.
He fucking killed Evander.
He wants to make it worth it. If he's gonna go through that training, put his body through that. Boxing is one of those sports where like, and these guys can relate. If you stay in the gym, you know, our bodies will be sore, but they're not like, you know, because the engine stays running. It's not like, you know, complete. There's been times where you take a couple months off and try to get back in. It's hard. Your body is so like, he's not going to put himself through a vicious training camp to then fight a guy that half the world doesn't know.
Right.
You know, realistically,
half the world doesn't know El Gallo. Come on.
My dad's in New England. He's a New England champion, and he's Puerto Rico's champion. But
They
aside from that,
Puerto Rico has a
he has
Jose
a day.
Rivera day.
But that's in Puerto Rico. They know who he is. You know, New England knows who he is. But realistically, if I go to Texas, is somebody gonna, you know, I'm just keeping it real. Is somebody gonna know in Texas who he is? Probably not. But De La Hoya is like, if I'm gonna go and do this and I'm gonna take this risk, I'm gonna at least make it worth it. If he's gonna maybe get his ass kicked, he's gonna at least get a bag for it.
A win,
you know,
it's a win.
Put it this way. I could take a fight against Omar and lose for $1 million, or I could try to take a fight against Mike and lose for 10 million.
But do you have heart? Is boxing this hard? Because I want to see the best against the best, of course. And I get that it's all money, but
it used to be like that. What happened was this is where the promoters got greedy. Back in the day, there was one champion per division. So no matter which way you cut or slice it, you had to go through that man. If you wanted the strap, there was no cherry picking. You had to go through that man. What ended up happening was when the promoters got greedy and created more sanctioning bodies and more belts, you could be like, I don't want that smoke with the WBA, but I'm going to go get that IBO.
Right.
You know, you started being able to cherry pick, and then it got even worse. Guys were getting bags without even having to fight the champions.
Yeah, they got paid to step aside.
You know, guys getting paid money to step aside, not having to fight their number one man. Put it this way, Canelo, they were like, hey, Canelo, Demetrius Andrade, you're mandatory. He said, fuck this belt.
Canelo.
Take that belt.
Fuck him too.
No, that's what he did. Yeah. Here, take this belt. I don't need that belt.
Yeah.
Now what? You can't make me fight my mandatory because I'm not your champion no more.
Mm.
You know, when you get in that position of power, and that's the only thing. So even though MMA fighters don't get paid as much as boxers, one thing I do like about MMA more is the ranked guys have to fight the ranked guys.
Right. And their fans, like, they lose a fight and it's like, oh yeah, he's over, he's done. Nah, not like in boxing where you lose a fight, it's over. You know what I'm saying?
Who created that delusional shit? And like I said,
it was
Mayweather. You know, from a business standpoint, I respect what he did. He made sure his family was secure for life.
I don't think, you know what? I don't think that Floyd did it intentionally. You know, Floyd, like you were saying, Floyd used his bad guy persona, his I make this amount of money persona, and I'm undefeated persona. You know what I mean? But he built that around himself. He never, like, I don't think he.
But it created that delusion that
it did.
Because now people are like, oh, he's an all-time great, which he's one of. But is he the best of the best? No, we can't say that, because in my opinion, when I look at the all-time greats in the history of greats, you had in his prime champion versus an in his prime champion that fought each other when they were at their best. So that's why those guys.
Who do you think is one of the greatest fighters ever of all time?
So one of the greatest fighters. I mean, you go obviously Sugar Ray Robinson.
There you go.
Okay.
You go Sugar Ray Robinson.
And what makes you say that?
So
Julio Cesar Chavez. That's my pick.
Hold on.
Because he's like 100-0 at one point. He's got a million.
Yeah. So hold on. My thing I'll get to Julio in a minute. But Sugar Ray fought at a time period where the weight classes were way wider. Like, he didn't fight at the 140, 147. He fought like welterweight is like 147 and like the next weight class isn't until like 170 type thing. Like, so, and he also fought in a time period where one champion per division. So how many times did he beat Jake LaMotta? Like, he had to fight him a bunch of times because dude kept, every time he beat him, dude worked his way back up, kept winning fights.
And they boxed like 20 rounds.
20 rounds.
Well, the reason why I'm asking these questions because like when you're saying great, you really got to look at what everything, not just the person's record, his resume, but what he did outside of the ring,
who he fought,
and why I say Floyd, right, is probably not. I don't even say he's the best ever, but he's probably like in my like top 5, close to 1 type shit, is because he changed boxing from what it was to what it is now, completely. From the way motherfuckers do pad work, from the way motherfuckers shoulder roll, from the way motherfuckers train, Floyd changed it entirely. And
the best
look at
defensive boxer.
He evolutionized it, but at the same time, that's not always a good thing. How many dudes go in that ring and they can't shoulder roll properly? They see Floyd doing it. You gotta remember that's a God-given ability.
It's ability, but it's also, you could train that. If you have even the slightest, you could train that and make it good. I ain't gonna say perfect it. Canelo had trash head movement, and then he started working on it. And look at the motherfucker, he looks fucking beautiful.
Canelo is the perfect example. I use Canelo as an example all the time. Canelo is also the perfect example why I don't necessarily think. And I actually was having this conversation with Mike before you guys logged on. We were actually talking about Francis Hogan, and I was saying that you don't have to be a great amateur to be a great pro. If anything, some of the greatest pros ever weren't that great amateurs.
Bro, I was a trash amateur.
Amateurs give you good experience.
I was a trash amateur.
Canelo's been pro since he was like 15 years old.
Yeah, nigga was 15 years old.
He's just now hitting his
Mexico
prime.
though.
That's Mexico. Yeah, but like,
Devin Haney did the same thing.
He's hitting his
he
prime now.
Pro.
He's hitting his prime right now.
Yeah,
because look, you got
he was all doing that, going down to Mexico.
No disrespect, but you got a guy like Cam Awesome who got like 19 national championships. But like, realistically, is his style a pro style?
Who you talking about?
We can't say because he didn't fight pro yet.
Cam Awesome.
Who you talking about? Cam F. Awesome? I'm gonna say I don't think so because he didn't want to go pro. He didn't want to fight pro. You know what I mean? He said,
I think he perfected the amateur point system to a T. Don't get me wrong. He'll win pro fights. But now when you get to like the Fury, the even the Charles Martin standpoint, like, will he get over that hump? Because there's guys who just, like, I think Amir Khan was good enough to obviously get himself up there, but I think what's always
fast and hit hard.
What's gotten Amir Khan clipped so many times is he still has the amateur. He's and never bringing his hands back, never sitting on his punches, and that's why he gets clipped in the middle of combinations because he's worried about And even Floyd sit on his punches. When Floyd's jabbing to the body, he's sitting on that motherfucker. That shit hurts. You can't be sitting there trying to touch, and guys are gonna walk through that. Guys are gonna take.
I think Floyd has pop, definitely. I just think he has a lot of hand problems. He didn't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think he never they didn't have power, because if people could just walk through him, they would have walked through him.
Yeah. No, I think he had good pop in like 30, 35. I think once 140, 147 came, it became.
I think he had knockout power in 30, 35.
Yeah. I think once he was like 40, 47, it became like regular.
47
like,
didn't have. Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid, but it's something that I could walk through. He's just so fucking fast that it makes me think twice.
Yeah.
But you could always mature late in the game, and I just look at guys, for me, like even De La Hoya, as much as he avoided my dad, whatever. I mean, he still fought Mosley twice in his prime.
To give it a buck, I never even liked watching that motherfucker.
No,
he's fought,
I never liked watching De La Hoya.
Even guys like, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought De La Hoya's style was whack. I don't know. I just never been a fan.
Nah, De La Hoya nasty.
Oh, I ain't gonna say he's not nasty. He's one of the best, but I don't know. I can't get with it. The way he boxes.
And we talking about guys that started late too. Sergio Martinez, man. A lot of people
He's still fighting. He just won,
man. Yeah.
What
a
about
weeks ago?
What about B-Hop? B-Hop started in prison.
Yeah,
he was a whole grown man.
Yeah.
That motherfucker, and he lost his first pro fight.
Lost his first pro fight to become the longest reigning middleweight champion ever.
He's a fucking alien, bro. He's a fucking alien.
Then you got guys like Pacquiao, who never had an amateur career either. Freak of nature.
I mean, the amateurs is good, man. I try to tell these kids all the time, man, that come into the gym, man. Like, you can't be scared to fight. Like, you just got to go in there and do it, whether you win or lose. Just go in there, that experience.
That's what the only thing I enjoy about the amateurs is it makes you see styles that you normally won't see. You're gonna see fighters that you normally, because like in the pros you could cherry pick, and the amateurs they're pulling out of a hat. So I might go into
everybody.
I might go into a tournament. If I'm 140, they're pulling out of a hat. There's Zach Ramsey there. There's Rashidi Ellis there. There's Nick DeLumba there. Like that hat, you don't know who you getting in that first tournament. So I'm like, oh damn, like you know. But at the same time, I think it's very important for when guys do turn pro, like you keep some of the stuff you're learning, but they stress there's no sense of urgency in the pros as there is in the amateurs. Like amateurs, you literally got to go out there and balls to the wall because you got 3-minute rounds. That's it. And it's a point system. The punches don't even got to hurt. It could be like point.
Yeah.
And I think some guys go into the pros forgetting like, nah, you ain't going to want to fight like that.
So that's what I had twisted, man, about boxing is, you know, the mentality of going in there and fighting for points versus my mentality looking at it was like, I'm going in trying to kill someone. Like, just no matter what, you know what I mean? It's not that way.
But you also have to be aware of your capabilities.
Right.
You have to be aware of your capabilities. If you ain't hurting nobody in sparring, if you ain't hurting nobody in any of your past fights, you know, I'm not going to sit here and brawl with Canelo, who's breaking guys' orbital bones. If I know I ain't going to hurt him, if I can't crack him, I'm going to hit and move and try to win on points.
Right.
But now the thing, if I'm fighting a Floyd who isn't really stopping people, and the only way you could beat him is if you smother him and make him uncomfortable, then that's what I got to go with.
Right.
So it's just kind of knowing your opponent and knowing your own capabilities. You know,
when you're boxing, you kind of know. So like the first, I don't know, for me at least, the first minute, if I hit you, like I usually come out in the first cut, like the first minute, and I throw like one or two shots that's like really like hard and snapping, and see how a fighter reacts. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say I sit there and fucking commit to it like 110%.
Yeah.
But I test it, depending on how that motherfucker reacts to that. You know what I mean? It's gonna dictate how I come out the second round. You know what I mean? If the dude reacted to it well, he just kind of walked through it, then I know I have a long night. But if the dude, I see that it buzzed him, it tweaked him a little bit, it bothered him, I'm gonna not only am I gonna throw that same shot again, but I'm gonna throw it harder.
You see the blood, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Actually funny
you see the blood. You can feel
that
that shit. You can feel that shit. You can feel when a motherfucker's fading.
The shock
I was
mentality.
having a conversation with Bobby Harris this weekend actually. And it was almost like, except it wasn't, I didn't use the reference of throwing the shot. What I had said was, in the first round, not that I'm going to let you hit me, but I'm going to make myself available. And if your hardest shot doesn't faze me, that changes everything. For me mentally, and for you, what's going to happen, because now I don't gotta be smart about anything I do. I'm just on your ass. You hit me with a good clean, like I referenced. I had a fight at Peter Manfredo's gym, his old gym in Rhode Island. Looked like a fucking like a rooster fucking like it was like underground basement shit. It was like you would fight roosters, but I was fighting this really tall kid, this tall long kid, and I knew he's taller than me. I knew that the only way I'm gonna get inside is if I take a couple straight jabs and right hands. Man, the first 1-2 that he hit me with was clean. It was clean. but it didn't bother me. And I ended up stopping him in the second round in the amateurs. Because at that point, once I knew that shot was clean and you threw it and it didn't phase me, I have no reason to back up now. I'm on your ass.
You're crazy.
So,
I would not
AJ,
ever.
was that your mentality in
the first round? Hell no.
My dad used to hate that. My dad used to hate it.
That's when if a motherfucker actually hits hard, it got power. The first round when they fucking gunning it. You know what I mean? You're fucking wild.
Yeah, my dad used to hate it. I'm
gonna see how a nigga hit. I'm gonna test how a nigga hit after 3-4. I'm gonna say, okay.
We would have a whole game plan. We would have a whole game plan leading up to the fight. Man, as soon as the bell rang, whatever me and my dad worked on, out the window.
Yeah, we fight.
The first round.
I'm gonna keep it real. My style was never meant for the amateurs. I'm not gonna sit here and touch. I'm sitting here and I remember one time in the silver gloves, I was like, they don't count body shots. So I mean, it was whatever. But I mean,
yeah, that's stupid.
I was breaking this kid down to the body early. And I took over the later rounds of the fight, whatever they robbed me. And actually one of the first times I actually met Ray Oliveira Sr., he was like yelling. He's like, "That's bull." I never even met him up until that point, but I hear some dude in the crowd like, "That's bullshit. Y'all robbing fighters, blah, blah, blah," going nuts and shit. I'm like, yo, who's this dude sticking up for me and shit? I look at my dad. My dad's like, "Oh, that's Sucre. That's Sucre Oliveira." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, but yeah. I used to like, I do it in sparring too. I like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I intentionally let you hit me, but I don't move enough where
sparring a little different though. I'll shell up real quick to see how
I don't move enough where like I'm not gonna get hit. So then once I feel your shot, if it's a hard shot and I'm like, ooh, he's got some pop, then I fight smarter the rest of the fight or the rest of the sparring. But if it don't phase me,
listen, you can't don't give too much of the strategy out, bro. Your career is not over. The main plan is coming out. We got De La Hoya versus Rivera. You're gonna be on the undercard. We got Fly Mike
Jake Paul.
Whoa, man, it's starting.
Mike gonna fight Jake Paul.
If I come out of retirement, if I come out of retirement and I fight, the only fight that makes sense to me because he's still available is Collazo.
What the
hell? I love it.
Hey, I know. Yo, Omar's like, you wild, you crazy. I got love for him. But shit, I mean, that's the only fight that's gonna make a bag. Like, hey, son seeking revenge for pops.
That's phenomenal.
He's the only one of my dad's. He's the only one of my dad's guys that he fought that's still active right now. Everyone's retired or gone. So
Cinco de Mayo. Rivera.
Collazo just fought. He just fought not too long ago, didn't he? Collazo.
Yeah, he just fought. The fight got ended on a. It was like a no contest, or it was like a technical. It was a headbutt. It was a
headbutt, right?
Yeah, they got gashed early, so.
Damn.
It was like a technical draw.
Mike, you said you were sparring with Cassius Chaney.
Yeah.
Did you see his fight at August 14th at the
against Aries?
No, August 14th was on my show.
Yeah.
That was the fight. That was his comeback fight after like a couple of year layoff. That was right before the Aries fight.
Yeah, I didn't even know him then like that. Like I didn't pay attention to him.
I told them that it was just I thought he could have done a lot more damage. I didn't know that was his comeback fight, but man.
Yeah. No, he definitely played it safe. He fought a very good veteran. Those veterans, like my dad always told me that. He goes, my dad, I think, started his career like 10-0, and he told me like he fought this veteran who had like a upside down record, but he had a shitload of fights. And he's like, man, when I tell you those guys know how to survive, they make you think outside. They're crafty. They don't see it all.
They're annoying as fuck.
It was an hour.
That was like my fight.
As fuck.
That was like my fight against Steve Vukoska. You know what I'm saying? Vukoska, you know what I mean? Like, I knew from jump. And what was crazy about it, because I remember as an amateur, like when I first started boxing when I was 18, I used to watch, my favorite fighter was James Toney. So I used to just watch James Toney, and I was watching James Toney spar this big white guy, right? So I'm looking at him spar, and like years later, I just studied that tape. Years later, come to find out, it was Steve Fukusa sparring James Toney.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so like when I fought him, because Steve had came off a win when he beat
Kusamano.
He beat Kusamano.
Yo, this dude's like 40 years old, just upset like
next
like Marciano of New England. Like
I'm like, yo, he a vet. So I just got going there with like I got respect for him, but you know, I'm gonna do my work on him. You know what I'm saying? The fight came out to a draw. I thought I won, you know what I'm saying? But they gave it a draw. I understand he's the hometown.
I think that fight really put you on the map over here in New England. Because I think that's the first time I really paid, because I knew that he had just came off that win against Cusimano, and then you got the fight. So I was really intrigued on that fight. So I think that was one of the first time I actually seen you fight. Was the Rucosa fight.
Steve a vet, man. I ain't got nothing but respect for Steve. He a vet.
Mike,
he fought Jason Estrada too.
The minute we started recording tonight, I'm thinking James Toney in your box. Is he an influence? Because legitimately, the minute you got in that box tonight, I was like, this is lights out right here. This is my man.
Not like James Toney, like, that's my dog. Like, that's where I learned my shoulder roll from and all that. I didn't watch Floyd. Because when I was watching
underrated defensive fighter.
Right. When I was watching when I was watching James Toney, I wasn't watching Floyd do it. Floyd made it famous.
The shoulder roll.
Right. He made it famous. But James Toney is where I learned. You know what I'm saying? I used to watch him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
fought Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. James Toney was a bad boy.
He was a dog. He was a dog.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
So my next question for you guys is, this will be for Omar and for Mike. If there's one fighter right now, because y'all asked me about me coming out of retirement, I don't got no test for that. But if there's one fighter right now that you would like to share a ring with, who would it be?
Ryan Garcia.
Wow.
Ryan Garcia, or even like George Kambosos.
Okay, I mean, those make sense. That's the bag right there. I think Ryan Garcia actually, like, so my thing is Ryan Garcia to me is super talented. I just personally think that like sometimes talent doesn't, especially in a 10 or 12 round fight, doesn't always win you a fight. Sometimes your heart and your balls have to win you a fight.
You know, I think Ryan.
My question mark over Ryan is, if you make a fight rough and tough, will he handle it or will he fold? Because I saw that sparring with Rolly. And Rolly was getting in on his ass. And to me, Rolly's not that great either.
Rolly fucking sucks. But they were fucking they were kids then. But you know, Ryan Rolly fucking Rolly hits hard as fuck, that's all he got going for him. Motherfucker didn't hit hard. If Rolly didn't hit hard, nigga would not be mentioned at all. You know, he's lucky he was blessed with some fucking superhuman fucking power, fuck him.
For that
Ryan, but Ryan on the other hand, Ryan's got speed, he's got power. I think he's got better ever since being with these niggas already, Eddie Reynoso and shit. But Ryan has so many flaws. If you could get past his sharpness the first couple of rounds, I think he's a very
I tell you what, the punch that Luke Campbell landed, if that was
if that was Tank.
If it was Tank would have sleep. But
get up.
You know what?
Even Jose Cepeda.
Yeah. I respect Ryan for beating Luke, because the motherfucker got dropped bad, yo. He fucking came back and knocked him out,
I mean, but that's like getting dropped by Luke is like getting dropped by Paulie Malignaggi. That don't happen.
No. Paulie had pillows in his hands. Respect his skills. I love Paulie. Paulie's funny as shit, and he's got amazing. He was a master fucking boxer, but the motherfucker did not hit hard, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you. Listen, look, check this out. I was in camp with Paulie. For the Amir Khan fight in the Garden. Yeah. So we in Brooklyn, we training or whatever. And Paulie, he got a boxing. Paulie has like one of the greatest boxing minds in boxing.
Yeah, he's a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm. But so like, I'm talking to Paulie. Paulie talking to me. He was like, "Yo, you know what I'm saying?" He was showing me the jab to the stomach, and he hit me, and it hurt. I was like, "Yo, like, nah." The people say he got pillow hands. I'm like, "Nah, he could punch, yo."
Technique, yo. technique.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
that's
this technique in that. And I mean, there's certain shots that like the soloplex, you can't build abs there. That's always gonna hurt. Yeah, always gonna gasp for air. You get a soloplex shot. Like
technique, I'm telling you, when a motherfucker learns how to punch correctly, hips and all that, and he still don't hit hard, he just don't got it. But if you teach a motherfucker that has some fucking heavy hands how to punch, it's you know what I mean. And Paulie probably he didn't have it, man.
So who's your guy, Mike? Omar named his guy. Who's your guy?
I would like to fight Jared Anderson. Ooh. That'll be a nice little fight, Jared Anderson. I think he's talented. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking bad about him or nothing. He's very skillful at what he does, but I would like to get a crack at him. Jared Anderson, and there's one guy overseas, but their numbers got to be right before they even set. Because me going overseas, if I say, I got my passport, I'm ready to go, but you know what I mean? Your numbers got to be right before you talk to me about going over there.
I'm gonna tell you right now, as a heavyweight with your record, nothing less than $100K for an overseas fight.
Facts. Facts.
And they'll give that to you. They'll give that to you.
Oh yeah.
Especially for the right guy. But I tell you what, I think a great over the hump fight would be Chris Arreola.
I would love that fight, yo. I would love that fight. Chris Arreola, I used to be
a great fight. The styles make fights.
Absolutely.
And that would be like a, and then for Omar, like I agreed with him on the Ryan Garcia. That would be like his over the hump. Like that would like put his name up there with those guys. Cause I mean, like I said, I just don't think like compared to the other, I mean, you got Teofimo there, you got Vasil. Anyone who catches Vasil right now is gonna hit the jackpot because Vasil, let's be real, he's still super talented, but he's not. He's in his late 30s now.
Nah, he looked good his last fight.
Coming off 3.
His last 2 fights, he looked good.
Yeah, coming off like 3 rotated. Yeah, but that's because he was really that good. Like he really might be. I mean, the greatest fighter I've ever seen with my own eyes. Nakatani's a fucking talent-wise is Roy Jones Jr.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the only person that I've ever watched that's come close to Roy Jones Jr. and what I witnessed in the prime of Roy Jones Jr.'s career is Vasil Lomachenko. The only difference is those guys 147 and below don't get that same shine or TV time that the way the guys above 147 get, 147 and up. The 147 guys and up, they always gonna get the bigger clout, the bigger
35.
That's always the way it's been.
Past couple years.
You got this dude on Chocolatito who was like 50 and 0.
Yeah.
I like Chocolatito. He's a good fighter.
Yeah, he's a really good fighter.
Yeah, he's a good
fighter. Was that when he got knocked out by that dude, Ceviche or whatever his name was. Ceviche.
It catches up eventually, man. There comes a point in time. I was one of the other podcasts. I was saying like the chin is like it's like a rock. You grab 2 rocks together and you keep banging them and banging them and banging them. Eventually, the rocks start to chip. So it's because I've seen guys that have never been dropped in their whole careers, and then later on in their careers, all of a sudden they got like weak chin. It's just weird.
It's imperative not to leave it all in the gym.
Yeah.
Those gym wars.
You can't. You can't.
To me, I mean, it could just be his natural voice, but I feel like, has this dude Tank been in like gym wars? Because like, his voice sound like he's kind of punchy. No disrespect to Tank. Yeah. I love Tank.
Yeah.
But his voice sounds like he's been.
But Tank was, he grew up in the streets. You know what I mean? He didn't really go to school like that. That nigga.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even a vocabulary thing. It's his voice.
It's a vocabulary thing too. Because Tank sometimes you be on there.
And he has that thick Baltimore accent.
Yeah.
Baltimore, they talk way different. Shout out to my cousins in Baltimore. I got a whole bunch of family in Baltimore. They talk way different out there in Baltimore.
Okay.
They talk different.
Okay.
Nah, Tank's been getting better. I don't know if motherfucker going like if they're teaching him this, if Leonard Ellerby is keeping him, but he's he's more vocal. He's a lot more clear. You know what I mean?
I think
Tank he's come a long way the last couple of years. He wasn't. He wasn't the most humble guy.
He's also dedicated. He stopped drinking.
Yeah.
He stopped drinking completely. No, but I think he's
He had
dedicating
to.
himself a lot more, and it's showing in the ring.
Yeah.
You know, with the late round stoppages, like he was like kind of getting touched up by Barrios.
That Gambo fight looked like trash. He looked like shit.
And then who else? It was the Barrios fight, but then there was another fight where he was kind of getting touched up a little bit and stopped him late. Santa Cruz.
Nah, Santa Cruz was doing a good job.
That's what I'm saying. Santa Cruz was touching him up. Same way with Barrios. Barrios was touching him up, and then he made his late round adjustments, whatever, ends up stopping him. But he's looked really good. I've been really impressed with him lately. He's showing his skill with his power.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just power. He's not just a brawler. You know?
So I gotta ask you guys. We need an assessment right now of your prediction. Jermaine Ortiz versus Albright. Give me what you think the fight's going to be about.
I actually know. I know. So Jermaine Ortiz, he just fought Adorno. I don't know if you watched it, Mike, on Top Rank.
Fight.
Yeah, that was fucking amazing. I actually sparred Adorno before, and I know that he hits hard, and the fact that Jermaine went out there, took his best punches, and fucking gave it back to him. I've always been impressed by Jermaine. He's fucking talented. One of the best fighters to come out of New England area and England area. He's fucking, he's gonna be great. So for the Albright fight, I do think that Albright has come a long way in the last few years because we went pro around the same time, and me and him were supposed to fight a few times. So I've always kept a close eye on him, and he's come a long way in his pro career too. He's gotten a lot better. I mean, he lost to Laureano in his first pro fight,
But that goes to show you, them Philly fighters ain't baby. Like you fought Anthony Laureano, your pro debut, and then the fight right after that, you fought a 1-0 kid and beat him.
Yeah. Nah, he's
them Philly
he's
fighters
one of the
don't
toughest.
Get baby.
No. Nah, he's a tough fight for Jermaine, but if Jermaine is the best Jermaine that he can be, it'll be an easy fight in the ring. On paper, it looks great. For the resume, it looks fantastic. But like I said, all
ranked ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, all Jermaine got to do is beat
10,
Jermaine.
Jermaine's at 13.
All Jermaine got to do is beat Jermaine. He gonna smoke him.
We were at Jermaine's training last week, and he looks phenomenal.
So my prediction is, I think so. Adorno, you guys got to see an exciting. I know Jermaine personally. You guys got to see an exciting Jermaine against Adorno, but you saw I don't want to say nervous, but I want to say like a misinformed. Like he went in there thinking, I'm the B-side guy. This is the promoter's fighter on the promoter's show. I can't fight like my normal self. I have to stop him. Like he went in there with the mentality that like Americans when they go to overseas, like we can't let this go to the scorecards. We gotta stop him. So Jermaine showed that he can bang. He showed he can bring a fight to you. But he didn't have to, because if Jermaine really wanted to, he can make it to where Adorno wouldn't have touched him. He could have made it boring, and he could have made it to where Adorno wouldn't have. When he fought
on Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson's on the card. That fight is where he showed me he could brawl, because I was like, look at this motherfucker going. You know what I mean? He was banging out with this dude.
Oh no, but I've always known that because I've seen both sides of him. I've seen him box the shoes off guys, and then I've seen in like whether it be sparrings or fights where he might get clipped or whatever, he might get mad, whatever. But I've seen him be like, all right, knuckle up time. He could buy righty and lefty. And I'm like, matter of fact, me and Jermaine going to hit funny story. He was probably like 8, so I was 10. We set the record for the youngest kids in Ionic Boys and Girls Club to go 10 rounds.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, me and Jermaine.
10 rounds is serious.
Yeah. We went 10 rounds as a 10 and an 8-year-old.
That's crazy.
Banging the whole time too, no breaks. Like we didn't know what. It's amazing to me that we didn't get tired. Like we didn't know what tired was because we brawled.
Okay, that's y'all doing that. I was like, what the hell happened to my
yeah. Oh, it's still
Jermaine
coming
the
in. It's a little choppy, Mike. It's not coming in full speed.
Okay. All right. They fought on Top Rank.
I'm telling you, Sunday I'm gonna have the
production.
production.
That was a top rank fighter. But you know what's crazy too is So you know, for Jermaine the first drop was behind the head. The ref didn't see it. No excuses, whatever. The second drop was clean. He got clipped. Jermaine was rushing in. Any fighter that, like they said, when you're rushing in, you get clipped. But for you to get dropped twice on the promoter's fighter's card and still come out with a draw.
Yeah.
We know what that means.
I thought he won the
That's fight. That's like you dropping Wilder twice on an Al Heyman card.
Yeah.
And coming out with a draw.
Yeah. I've been there.
We're gonna fuck Al Heyman up. You have to beat the shit out of Al Heyman.
Listen, Al Heyman is a sophisticated cat.
He is.
I mean, he's a sophisticated cat. I
remember. Yeah, but if he pays somebody judges to make me lose, we're gonna have to throw the hands, bro.
Oh, it's a tough subject.
Al Heyman could be sophisticated, but motherfucker paying judges, hell no.
Hey, Al, if you watching this, I ain't saying a goddamn thing.
Hey, he's like, hey,
I'm just playing, Al. I'm just playing.
Hey, so while we're on here real quick, because I know we're gonna get ready to wrap it up soon. You guys got any sponsors, any people, trainers, friends, family you guys want to shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out AJ Galante, of course, Champs Danbury Trashes, the whole movement over there. Rest in peace to Xavier Porter from shootthefive.com. He just recently passed away, so he was a good friend of mine from Harlem, New York. And shout out to my whole team, man. Shout out to Danbury, shout out to Harlem, 145th Lenox Avenue, Jersey, Irvington, New Jersey, you already know. And that's how I'm keeping it. Shout out to Danbury too. I'm not from Connecticut, but you know, I'm Connecticut now. I'm paying all these Connecticut taxes. So you know, I'm a Connecticut cat now.
Any sponsors you would like to thank?
All the regular sponsors that hit us up, man. Well, who is it, Omar?
You got Peter Fair, Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge, shout out to
we have a lot of, we got On the Med Medical.
On the Med, shout out to them. I gotta get some stuff from them for my mother-in-law.
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of people that, you know, that business owners that come to the gym, and they're always impressed by Mike and I, how we train, and they, you know, they end up sponsoring. Sometimes we get lawyers that walk up in there, buy sponsor packages. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would give a shout out to all of them guys. You know, everybody that takes the time to watch us putting in the hard work and let, you know, like, feel inspired by that and throw some money on us. You know, we appreciate that shit.
For sure.
Love it, guys.
I want to get messy one time before we log off. Y'all name some national fighters that y'all want next. What about local? Let's get messy.
That's a phenomenal question right there. Phenomenal.
Local. I mean, I don't really know, to be honest.
When I say local, I will go as high up from like Maine, Vermont, all the way down to like, we could say Baltimore, like in New England, from way up top to.
I mean, I'm trying to name a New England dude so we can, you know, but you know, ain't really nobody popping in my head. nobody. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I have a pretty good repertoire with a lot of fighters in Connecticut and Mass. You know what I'm saying? All these motherfuckers is cool with me. So, I mean, I ain't never heard no fighter talking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I sparred fucking at almost everybody. Ain't nobody.
Hey, but sometimes you need to go get your next meal. So it's like, hey, I know you're not.
I'm not looking for nobody local. If somebody local want to fight me on a local show, I don't give a fuck. Send a contract. But honestly, I want like what Mike was saying. I want the bag, man. If I'm trying to go for these national niggas, if I get one bag, that means 2, 3, 4, 5. You know.
All
right, so we're not local. then you can call out a rematch with Homeboy.
I've been trying to get that fight.
With Romain, whatever his name is.
Tomash. I've been trying to get that fight for a long time, but I was actually supposed to fight him in June of last year on one of Chris Chiatti's cards again. Granite Chin Promotions.
Shout out to Chris Shire. That's my promoter now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him.
I was supposed to get that fight through them. on a whim, basically, because I was scheduled to fight some other dude. And he priced himself out. So then we asked for Romaine.
Oh, so that meant like, oh damn, I know I got the win, but I really don't think I got the win. So I ain't.
He priced himself out.
Again.
No, that's the shit. The original guy priced himself out. So we asked for Romaine. Romaine priced himself out.
Well, I got one. I got a local guy. Donnie Palmer.
Oh no!
Yeah. Donnie Palmer, what's up? You blocked me on Instagram, you chump. What's up?
Yo.
Donnie Palmer's a bitch. Tell him come see me, man.
Wow.
You got problems with me, man. Real rap.
Boy, there we go. There's the main event right there, AJ.
Yeah, real rap. And we could do it for the New England title too. I got the New England heavyweight title. We could do it for that. You 10-1. Let's do it.
Wow, that is phenomenal. All right.
That's who I want.
Call us the Monsters, baby.
He a big bitch. He a big bitch. How you gonna talk to my lady behind my back about me? That you want to fight? You talking to my lady about, if Mike wants to get an L. I'm like, what? Like, bro, like what? You stupid. Talk to me. And you know my promoter. Come on, man. You know my promoter. You talk about him all the time. What's up, Donnie?
Wow.
Yo, isn't he from Mass? Yeah, what part of Mass is he from?
I don't care.
He's in Boston.
I don't care. It don't matter. It don't matter.
You know him, AJ?
Yeah. So actually, so Donnie's fought on my second show.
Yo, so set it up.
Let's go.
Got Donnie. So I got Donnie some sparring in Canada, and then that led to him getting that Joe Joyce fight, and then I haven't really talked to
so
him.
He mad that you got him with the Joe Joyce fight. He lost, right?
Nah. Listen, when you get a bag like that, you ain't mad at it.
Set it up between him and Mike. Yo, what's up?
Mike, you are the greatest guest that's ever come across Shamrock Sports, bro. Seriously.
Donnie Palmer's a sucker, man. He's a sucker, man. I don't do shit like that. I don't have to talk to other people's ladies behind their back, man. I don't do that, man. You got a problem with me, you talk to me, man. Come on, man. What's up?
I think we can set this up next Wednesday night on this podcast. I think Donnie will come on. I know my girl Jeannie Desmaris.
Listen,
she's friends with him. He was at TG show in Framingham, I believe.
Mike, make the fight, Mike.
Donnie wants to smoke bad.
Let's do it.
Donnie wants to smoke bad with. He's been telling me for years now. He wanted JPP and Cassius. Those are the two guys he's been wanting for years.
Cassius will beat the hell out of Donnie. Cassius will beat the shit out of Donnie. He will beat the shit out of Donnie. And I'll beat the shit out of Donnie. He better, real talk, Donnie better not even say the word Cassius. Real shit. I'll beat the shit out of Donnie.
Let's go.
Oh, shit.
Phenomenal. Omar, who was your guy? Romaine, is that the dude we got to stir up for next week for you? I mean, we'll do
Romaine going to price himself out. We're going to move on to bigger, better things. Omar's the beast.
Yeah.
All right. Guys just got to see Omar get to work. He hasn't been active the last couple of years, but this guy's an exciting fighter. He's a very good fighter. I've seen him do work inside. I've seen him do work outside. My favorite knockout was a fight that I match made. I mean, I might put. Let me see if I can find this video. I'm gonna pull this up.
I can make you host, and you can do it.
This is the cleanest pivot overhand right you've ever seen in your life.
You're on.
Gorgeous.
I gave you host, so you can screen share it if you got it.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it how I did it last time because the screen share shows up choppy. But I know for a fact that I got this video. Now it's just a matter of me finding this video.
Fly Mike Marshall. Where do we get the gear, bro? Where do we get the merch? You got a website? You guys both tell like how to fight it. How do the fans come and find you guys online?
You can find me on Facebook, Fly Mike Marshall. I'm also on Instagram at Fly Mike Marshall. Everything Fly Mike Marshall. But you can go on millions.co / Fly Mike Marshall, and I have a whole bunch of merch on there and stuff
Love
like
it.
that. Hoodies,
Love it.
hats. Yeah.
Omar, how about you?
You can find me on Facebook, my Omar Bordoy Jr. and my Instagram would be, I believe, Omar Bordoy with a hyphen Jr.
All right. All right.
My Facebook is kind of like, I mean, I go through my requests and all that, but my Instagram is public, so you can just check me out on there. I don't have a merch website. I ain't fancy like Mike over here and shit.
Hey, you guys gonna be superstars on Shamrock Sports. I guarantee. I love it. Absolutely love it, man.
Donnie Palmer, I'm on your ass. After I handle this Sonny Conto business, I want that work. I ain't forget about you. Win, lose, or draw against Sonny Conto, I don't care what happens. I'm going in there to work. But Donnie Palmer, I'm on your ass. Pause.
If we set it up for next Wednesday, if we get a ring and put it together, are you in?
I'm in. I'll fight him right now.
This is why I love this guy.
Like, I'll fight that motherfucker right now.
And I tell you what, I have so much respect
you.
for the heavyweight division, because the heavyweight division is probably I'll say cruiserweight and heavyweight. It's the only division in boxing where, like, on any given night, you could just get slept, because, like, these men are
everybody
behemoths.
hits hard.
These men are behemoths. These men have sledgehammers in their gloves.
Everybody hits hard.
Your skills don't matter, because if I touch you any kind of way, you can, like, I have so much respect, like Ali. Ali, hands down, right behind, either right there tied with number 1 with Sugar Robinson, or at number 2, greatest fighter of all time. For him to win his championships the way he did, go to jail, take time off, come back, win another one, and, like, he didn't get no old guys. If anything, he was the old guy. You know, he had Sonny Liston in his prime. He had Joe Frazier in his prime, George Foreman in his prime, Larry Holmes in his prime, Ken Norton in his prime. Like, the heavyweight division is just different. It's different. Those men, like, you blink the wrong way and you could be sleeping and have no idea what happened.
That's why
that division, I have so much respect for it.
Yeah, you got to be on your pivot. That's why I looked up to guys like James Toney, man. James Toney just went in there, two-ton Tony Galano. I was watching something on him today. He just went in and did what he did. You know what I'm saying? These guys taught their shit, but they backed it up. Donnie Palmer, I'm gonna fuck you up, boy.
It's on now. This is great.
I'm gonna have to hit up Donnie. after this and ask him if he wants this fight.
Hey, ask him if you want that work. Make it worth my while, though. Make it worth my while.
He says he's a politician now.
Yeah, politics.
He's fighting now. He's fighting. He's back fighting.
But he's not fighting, man. He said I'm a politician.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. That's what it is. I think.
So I got the video, but it's not it's got like a sound, so you can't really hear how strong the punch was, because I have like a voiceover on it. But hold on, I'm gonna let that rerun. Hold on, real quick. The punch was hard as shit. Come here.
Oh, I was there. I was at this fight.
Oh.
Yeah, I was at this fight.
I was the matchmaker of the show.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Oh.
Hey, I left right after Omar. I had to leave right after because I was talking mad shit. I was talking a lot of shit, and people was like, "Oh, I was yelling this shit like, oh yeah, Omar, woo, woo, use the jab, blah blah blah." Whoever's people was there, the dude that he was fighting, I'm standing right next to him, so I'm like, I gotta slide out before I do something in here because I don't want to cause any trouble. So I had to leave right.
You know what's funny? I actually when I was in that fight, I could hear Mike because he was like right there. So every time Mike was yelling, I was like, I hear you, bro.
That fight for me was like, okay, like Omar already had fought twice for me on my show, so I've already seen what Omar could do. But for me, that fight, so I already knew what Peacock could do because I had matched up.
Motherfuckers was saying I was gonna lose.
I had matched up Peacock versus Wilfredo, so I knew he was a tough Puerto Rican vet coming to fight. And like the way Omar handled himself early and then got the late round stoppage, for me, that was like, okay, this kid's got it. This kid's got, like, when you still have that kind of punch power that late in the fight, that kind of movement, like, people don't pay attention. They see the knockout. The fans see the knockout. I see the skill set of the, like, slit, pivot, all in the same motion, and, like, face first. You know, that for me was like, yo, the fact that he had the energy, the smarts, it came natural, it was fluid, and it was so late in the fight. That was the last round. It was the last round, last second. Last second.
Yeah. As soon as the bell rang, he was on the floor.
I was like,
love that. Love it, man. So that's phenomenal that you just said that you heard Mike, because it brings me to my point about Cassius, man. That was actually the first event that I covered boxing wise, and I told AJ, I think on one of the early podcasts, that fight was just so boring for me. It went an hour, and they, like, you know, Cassius realized he had the fight won and just kind of rolled through it, right? But the one thing that I also wrote about in my blog was whoever Cassius's trainer was, or his coach that was yelling from ringside, the best I've seen. And I up close, I was actually at a point I was gracious to be so close because of that dude by the end, because of
his trainer, right?
It was unreal. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, and
his trainer was very,
listening, you know?
His trainer was very educated, because some of the things that I was seeing that Cassius needed to do, his trainer was calling
telling
out.
him,
Like, off rip. Like, you know, for me, Cassius, you could tell that the ring rust was there. But you could tell he was very skillful. And you know how, like, you know, you guys have fought him before, those vets that just don't go away.
They fucking suck.
Yeah,
so
it was like
one of those tough, crafty vets that
I fought like 3 of them, and they fucking, I hate them. My last fight was with one of them.
And here's the thing, Cassius, at this point, he was so up on the scorecards. You're in the heavyweight division. You can't risk getting touched, because the guy would, like, he would do this weird, like, going backwards, and then all of a sudden,
crazy,
like,
punch,
rush right in with a punch, like, and it would land sometimes. Like, Cash got clipped with a couple shots, and I was like, oh, he took the shots well, he managed, and, you know, for me, it was like a 10-round shot out. You know, maybe lost 1 or 2, but he did very
it was
well.
10 rounds with a veteran. That's annoying like that.
Yeah, it certainly was, man.
10 round fight. That was my last fight. That was my last fight of the night. You know, I was so tired. I was like,
everybody was.
Oh my
I'm not
God,
gonna lie, I was right there next to Mike, like, Cash, take his head off, please.
Yeah,
I was
you know what?
I was so over that night. That night was so crazy. Just even, you know, how outside the ring, you know how it be sometimes. Like, it was just such a long night for me that I was like,
it was
by the time Cash got in the ring, I was just like, yo, I hope this heavyweight fight goes 1 round. Sure enough, with my luck, goes all 10.
Oh, yeah. Yep, phenomenal. Everybody was expecting fireworks after Wilfredo's fight too. You know, I was like, oh man, everybody had already popped. But you're right. I wanted to see him take his time. That dude's huge, man. Cassius is a big dude.
Yo,
like,
you know what's crazy? So, I heard he was actually a ball player.
Yeah,
I heard he was actually a nasty ball player.
He was.
There's a basketball where we go to spar. I guess we're in his gym because it's in New London.
Yeah.
Like, right next to the ring is a basketball hoop. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen some shit like that. Like, it's a basketball hoop next to the ring, and I'm like, while I'm warming up, getting ready to spar, I'm shooting J's and shit. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, one of the football players. So, you know, I work for the arena football team, which is one of Chip. Shout out to the Massachusetts Pirates. One of our quarterbacks, who's from Connecticut, went to school with Cassius's brother, who I actually heard was also an extremely gifted athlete. I think he might have had like a heart condition or something like that. But they were like when I told them that Cassius boxed, because they saw that I had a show coming up and Cassius was fighting on it, he was like, yo, I had no idea that this kid boxed. This kid was a nasty ass ball player. He boxes now? I'm like, how do you know him? It's like, we went to school together, play ball. I'm like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Love it, guys. Listen, I can't even thank you enough for tonight. This is phenomenal. And I thank you very much. My man Fly Mike Marshall. My man
Yeah.
Omar Bordoy Jr. As always, AJ, the mascot. Who's on your lap?
This is Lennox.
Uh-oh.
Beautiful
Lennox
dog.
likes
Lennox
to talk
Lewis.
boxing too.
He's good. He's
And
good.
Lennox
Yeah.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always name
Lennox.
one of my dogs Tyson.
So here's the thing. I was gonna name him Tyson, but I got a friend that just had a puppy. So I've always said all my dogs are gonna. I have a boxer. My boxer is named Cassius. So obviously, and I call him Cash for short.
Yeah.
My
I always
first
said I'm
dog
naming
name
all my dogs after boxers. But I have a friend that just named their dog Tyson. So I was like, damn, he would have been perfect because he's short
Look
and
like
like
Tyson.
and
Savage,
wide.
yeah.
So I'm like, he's Tyson all the way. But you know,
You should have
they
just called him
named their dog
Tank.
Tyson. So I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to go with Lennox. So
Yeah, but Lennox is a big heavyweight, yo. You should call him Tank or something.
I know I should have. My boy's he's only 5 months too. He's a big boy.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Well, listen, guys, thank you again for tonight. So I'm gonna end this with 3 call-outs that I seen. I want AJ Galante to come on, invite open. I'd love to. I mean, we're gonna call out the Golden Boy, but you know, I think he don't want to smoke. And third, and last but not least, Donnie Palmer, where you at?
Donnie Palmer.
Donnie Palmer.
Donnie
You know my
Palmer.
promoter. Shout out to Chris Triadi, Granite Chin Promotions. You know how we do it. Donnie Palmer, I want that smoke. We can do it in the New England Center. I'm the New England champion. We could do it in the New England Center. It's nothing.
Consider it a call out. I love it. I'll tell you, guys, thank you for tuning in. AJ,
thank you guys for coming on. It was great catching up.
We appreciate it.
I look forward to both of you guys' next fights. I'll be supporting regardless. Hopefully I'll see y'all soon.
All right, baby.
I
love it,
appreciate
guys.
this fight.
Thank you again, guys. Be safe.
Yeah.